and welcome to Smash Course. I'm Lindsay Cowley.
I'm Bella Fritz.
I'm Maddie Crowley.
I'm Andres Balbuena, and we're talking about the adventures of Huckleberry Finn today.
The story Huckleberry Finn is told by Huck Finn, who is a young boy living in Missouri before the Civil War. At the beginning of the story, Huck Finn had been living with the widow Douglas and her sister Miss Watson. These ladies were very rich and proper, so they tried to teach Huck Finn manners, education, and how to dress correctly. Once his father heard that his son had money, he kidnapped him and took him to an old cabin. Huck Finn had to fake his death in order to escape. Huck Finn coincidentally found Miss Watson's runaway slave Jim, and the pair decided to run away together. Jim was running away because he was going to be sold and separated from his family, and Huck wanted to make sure he got away from his father. Huck and Jim traveled by raft down the river because they wanted to reach the Free States. Huck and Jim encountered many different places and situations. They went the wrong way, and the raft crashed and the pair got separated. Huck went to shore and witnessed the feud between two powerful families, the Gangerfords and Shepherdsons, in which many people died. After the feud, Huck Finn reunites with Jim. Huck and Jim travel down the river and meet two con men who call themselves the King and the Duke. Huck and Jim travel with the con men down the river. In one town, they pretend to be the brothers of a recently deceased man named Peter Wilkes. After staying in the family's home, Huck devises a plan to rat the King and Duke out, but the King and Duke somehow escape the town. They continue traveling with the King and the Duke. Their next stop, the con men decide to sell Jim, and at this point, Huck leaves the King and the Duke. Huck stays in the town Jim was sold. Coincidentally, Tom is visiting his aunt and uncle in the same town. Huck and Tom come up with a plan to free Jim, but when it failed, it did not matter because Tom revealed Miss Watson had freed Jim before she died.
The main character is Huck Finn, a white orphan boy who recently became wealthy and is forced to travel in the United States. Many characters under the themes deceit, family, and racism all have heavy influence on Huck. Under deceit, we have Pat, Huck's father. He is a town drunk who left Huck and his mother when she died and left Huck to grow up an orphan. Pat returns in the story once he finds out Huck is now rich from the previous book, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and attempts to claim Huck as his own, kidnapping Huck from his newly acquired, civilized life. Pat represents Huck's fears, and the chapters he was in were extremely controversial because of the depiction of Huck's abuse. Next, under deceit, we have the Duke and the King, two con artists who charade as London actors. Con artists were very common at this time, selling elixirs to cure fake diseases or trying to obtain fake inheritances. The Duke and King are so greedy, they try to sell Jim, Huck's runaway slave companion, causing Huck to lose a lot of faith in humanity. Under the themes of family, we have the widow and her sister Miss Watson, who have both taken Huck in the beginning of the story and attempt to raise him in a civilized manner and take him in as family. They teach Huck how to read, write, and also about religion. Huck even begins to enjoy his new lifestyle until he's kidnapped. The widow, Miss Watson, gave Huck his only real family setting and showed him a different perspective. Also, we have Tom Sawyer, Huck's closest friend and perhaps the closest thing he has to family. Having gone on adventures together in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Tom returns once again throughout the book to help Huck on his adventures. On the theme of racism, we have Jim, a runaway slave who tags along with Huck as he travels by raft. Having figured out that he was about to be sold, Jim escaped in order to be able to find his family. Jim's story represents the racism in the United States, one, with the obvious reference to slavery, and two, shedding light that many slaves had families and those they cared for that were carelessly stripped away in order for their owners' profit. All these characters influence Huck, who over the course of the story strays from his racist ways and learns to appreciate family and those with him even through all the abuse that he faces in his life.
The controversy surrounding Huckleberry Finn is the use of racial slurs and child abuse within the book. The N-word is used over 219 times. The United States educational system has recently found the book to be unsuitable to school children, and a new revised version has been published. In this revision, the N-word is replaced with the word slave. This has been met with much controversy because they're claiming that it is an attempt to censor Mark Twain. Huckleberry Finn is set along the Mississippi River before the Civil War. This speech pattern and apparent racism would be very common at the time, and Twain is simply accurately depicting life during the time period. America's slave-filled past is a sensitive topic to some, but ignoring it will not make it go away. By allowing students to take an accurate look into the past, they can learn from our ancestors' mistakes and progress forward. In Huckleberry Finn, Huck's father is an abusive drunk. He forces Huck to live with him, and his only method of parenting is physical abuse. This abuse is so severe that Huck is forced to leave home. Child abuse, much like racism, is a sensitive topic that most would like to ignore. By bringing it up in the book, Twain is bringing to light a topic that is seldom discussed, especially in schools. Huck Finn should not be excluded due to its racist themes or discussion of child abuse. These topics must be brought up, and Huckleberry Finn is an excellent platform to do so.
People will always argue over the use of such words, but it's important to remember the themes that prevail in this text. Huck Finn is centered around themes of racism, family, and deceit, meaning moral standards. All topics that have remained relevant since the time of publication and will likely remain so. Racism in the 1880s meant slavery and deep Southern Jim Crow laws, but now it's police brutality and unfair prison sentences. Either way, the issue has not disappeared and only developed with time. Additionally, the themes of family and morals will always be relevant to humans. Huck in particular faces the issue of abuse by his father, prompting him to leave home. This connection made by Twain opens readers' eyes to see that these sort of issues really do happen. Every person will always have their own inward battles with moral standards, as we see in Huck when he questions his actions in freeing Jim and sticking with the con artists who attempt to trick the young Wilkes girls. This connection to all readers as humans ties in the book's lessons of family and morals to any time period or setting. Upon everything else, the story is recognized as a classic, the sort of book that everyone should read at least once and can be referenced or alluded to often. People love the sense of adventure that the book brings through its lively young characters and will continue to appreciate it for years to come. It is the sort of story that everyone loves, and it will remain so. While it cannot be denied that The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is heavy with controversy, the iconic piece of literature must remain in the American canon. The themes and lessons it teaches are applicable to the lives of various types of people in nearly any situation, over the time period of publication to modern day and beyond.